better. And Adam, look, I get why you did what you did, but I did see how the Midas Touch advertised it today. The Midas Touch, masterclass. Look how he destroyed. Look how he exposed the Nazi
Was there
sympathies.
anything unfactual about what I said? Can you name one unfactual thing?
No, I'm talking about how it was hyped. What you said was all true.
Wait, the Midas Touch tweet, I promise you, the Midas Touch tweet was a transcript of our wording, and then the owner of Midas Touch said, Adam Mockler put on a masterclass because this is a guy who supports me, and he thought I did a good job.
In today's video, Adam Mockler absolutely schools Chris Cuomo in a heated debate on Chris Cuomo's show. From the very beginning, Adam Mockler stays composed while Chris Cuomo tries to play defense, but it doesn't work. Adam Mockler calls out Cuomo's blatant double standards, showing how selective outrage and moral inconsistency have taken over political discussions. Adam Mockler isn't just debating, he's exposing hypocrisy with logic and composure, making it clear that accountability shouldn't depend on which side you're on. So let's dive in and watch how Adam Mockler shuts down Chris Cuomo on Chris Cuomo's show.
Conservative radio host Ben Ferguson here with me tonight, and Adam Mockler is back also. Adam, first of all, thank you very much for joining me last night and lending us your reach. Appreciate you, as I always do, either here or at the Chris Cuomo Project. Ben, the easy part is I don't even get a whole question out of my mouth if I'm talking to you about condoning any Nazi. Yeah. As soon as I say Nazi and condone, you say, of course not. How could you even ask me that? I don't know what Andrew was doing. I don't think he's a Nazi sympathizer. But that part is an easy yes, right? I don't, whatever they say, whenever Nazi anything, I'm against it, right?
Yeah, I said this a couple nights ago when I was asked this question on the network, and I said, look, first of all, I think this is grotesque. I think it's horrible. I think the people that said this should be out of the Republican Party. I think they should be out for a long time. I think they should be shunned. I think they need to have no leadership role, full stop, in the Republican Party. I also said that if we are going to condemn this, then I would hope that as quickly as I just condemned that, we can condemn, for example, the Attorney General candidate in Virginia for saying that children are fascists and should die, that an elected official should have 2 bullets in their head, and that they should be disqualified from running for office in the Democratic Party. 2 things at the same time can be correct. 2 things can be the same at the same time. You need to condemn it when it happens on the right, as I did instantly. We also have a big problem, Chris, in this country, that Democrats want to go after these scumbags that said this. I'm saying they are that. They should have no place in my party. I want them excommunicated. I want them on the bench for a very long time. So why the hell do Democrats not use the same standard they're demanding for their own candidate who could be the Attorney General of the state of Virginia and actually be able to go after and weaponize a government agency, law enforcement, to go after citizens who he doesn't agree with? He wants to put not 1, but 2 bullets in their head and kill the children.
Right. So, Adam, you know, you get what this is about. Why did you go at Colvette more than you went at the AG candidate?
Honestly, first of all, thank you for having me on last night. I appreciate that a lot.
You helped us.
It was very awesome, very gracious, a great experience in my early career. I do want to say I didn't even mean to go after Colvette. I thought it was going to be an easy agree. I was actually making a broader point about algorithms and young men, and I leaned over and said, you condemn that, right? And he said, we'll talk about that later. And I was honestly shocked. I was like, wait a minute, you condemn that, right? And he was like, I don't want to talk, I want to talk about it later. I was actually pretty taken aback. I wasn't trying to farm outrage. To respond to Ben, as somebody who's, I guess, growing in the Democratic Party, I will easily, very strongly condemn what Jay Jones said. I found it really disgusting and despicable. There is no place in America for somebody to be talking about that in a private text, especially if you're going to be one of the highest prosecutors in the state of Virginia, or the highest. So that should not be allowed in the
You can really feel the clash in this exchange. Adam Mockler comes in calm but firm, and honestly, that's exactly what this debate needed. Ben Ferguson is trying to frame the issue like it's just another case of partisan hypocrisy, but that misses the whole point. Accountability shouldn't depend on political affiliation. It's about principle, not party. And Mockler nails that perfectly. He doesn't try to dodge or spin it. He flat out condemns the hateful rhetoric, even when it comes from someone on his own side. That takes guts in today's political climate. Most politicians would twist themselves into knots to avoid criticizing their party, but Adam Mockler just calls it what it is: unacceptable. Meanwhile, Ben Ferguson's tactic is the same one we've seen 100 times: deflect, deflect, deflect. Instead of addressing the substance, he shifts to, but Democrats do it too. It's exhausting, and people are starting to see through it. You can't fix a problem by constantly pointing at someone else's mess. What Mockler does here is actually push the conversation forward. He acknowledges that both parties have flaws, but insists that accountability has to start somewhere. That's leadership, not partisan loyalty, but moral consistency. And that's why his stance resonates. He's speaking to the growing number of Americans who are just done with double standards and political theater. At the end of the day, Adam Mockler shows that condemning extremism shouldn't be controversial. It should be common sense.
Democratic Party. I will very strongly.
Thank you sincerely. I mean this sincerely. Thank you for leading in the Democratic Party on this. And I mean it, because it's guys like you and I that are going to have to just straight up call this out when we see it and police our own side. And I think you would agree with me. He should not be the candidate for the Democratic Party. Do you agree that, like, all the Democrats should be condemning and saying he needs to drop out of the race, because this person should never lead, period?
Absolutely, I agree with you, but I think a lot of mainstream Democrats have condemned it, and if you ask them to their face, they would condemn it. Can you see where I'm coming from when I see
I get that, but the leadership of the Democratic Party, and this is the problem, like, and this goes back to, I think, the core issue. The leadership of the Democratic Party inside Virginia, the leaders, and outside nationally, have protected him, Jay Jones, at all costs.
Well, you can't be surprised.
They would rather win a race than be honest about it.
But Ben, you can't be surprised, because look at what your party did with Trump. We had never seen anything like it, but now it's the standard. Now it's the standard.
Chris, this is where I got to disagree with you.
Go ahead.
You don't have a text message of the President of the United States of America, Donald Trump, saying that two people in the Democratic Party's children should be murdered.
You're right.
You do not have Donald Trump saying,
Ben, a few things.
I don't have
Nancy Pelosi should have two bullets in her head.
Listen, first of all, hold on, Ben. Pelosi's a step too far, because the way he made a joke about what happened, and other Republicans made a joke. Now, again, I hate all of this and want to disrupt it because I know it's cheap. I'm just saying no one has high ground until you two do what you're talking about here on a regular basis for your own. But right now, it's just too easy to do what J.D. Vance did that pissed off Adam, which is, I'm going to go right to the other side being worse. We got to get about who is better. And Adam, look, I get why you did what you did, but I did see how the Midas Touch advertised it today. The Midas Touch, masterclass. Look how he destroyed. Look how he exposed the Nazi
Was there
sympathies.
anything unfactual about what I said? Can you name one unfactual thing?
No, I'm talking about how it was hyped. What you said was all true.
Wait, the Midas Touch tweet, I promise you, the Midas Touch tweet was a transcript of our wording, and then the owner of Midas Touch said, Adam Mockler put on a masterclass because this is a guy who supports me, and he thought I did a good job. But this is not us trying to spin.
I know, but it's not a masterclass, because what that suggests is this is how you take them down. And I think that is part of the problem.
Shouldn't be easy to take someone down by asking them if they condemn gas chambers.
It's not about the substance.
Not surprise you?
It's not
Here's
the
why
substance.
it went viral. Here's why it went viral.
Because you suggested the guy's a Nazi. That's why it went viral.
Yeah.
Wait, no, I did not.
No, not you. I'm saying his lack of answering suggested that he was okay with it. That's why it went viral.
You just said that I suggested he was a Nazi.
When I
never did that.
I mean the content. Not you.
Okay, wait.
You weren't.
This went viral based on the actual bearings of the clip. He was acting very, very, squirmy when I asked him a very simple question. And then you know what happened? Stephen A. Smith immediately said, hell yeah, I condemn it. And then even he said, I condemn it. So then I brought it back and said, you can condemn this, right? The idea that I spun this to go viral is not true whatsoever.
No, I'm not you. I'm talking about how the Midas Touch used it, which is how they should use it, because that's what trips the algorithms.
Really quickly, can I respond to one more thing?
Adam, if I had a problem with you, and I'll give you the last word, if I had a problem with you, we wouldn't be talking right.
This debate really exposes something deeper about how political accountability works, or rather doesn't work, in both parties. Adam Mockler is absolutely right to push back here. What Jay Jones said was completely unacceptable, and there's no defending that kind of rhetoric, period. But Mockler goes beyond just condemning it. He highlights the hypocrisy on both sides, especially when Republicans like Ben Ferguson and Chris Cuomo act shocked, as if their own party hasn't turned a blind eye to worse behavior. Here's the thing, Adam Mockler isn't excusing anything. He's saying, if we're going to talk about moral standards, then let's apply them equally. And that's crucial, because while the GOP demands Democrats condemn Jay Jones, they've spent years dodging accountability for Donald Trump's own inflammatory remarks. You can't preach ethics only when it's politically convenient. What makes this exchange powerful is that Mockler keeps his composure. He doesn't just trade outrage for outrage, he brings logic. He points out that mainstream Democrats have condemned Jones, but leadership silence is the real issue. And honestly, he's right. That's not a left or right problem, it's a leadership problem. And when Chris Cuomo tries to pivot into both sides' territory, Adam Mockler grounds it again. It's not about partisan tit for tat, it's about consistency. If we really want to fix the toxic political culture, it starts with holding everyone to the same moral standard, no matter the letter next to their name.
Right now, right? I would have just called you up and said, here's why we're done.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with you. I have a problem with what works, frankly. But I'm not blaming you for that. Last word to you. Go ahead.
Yep, the clip that you're referring to about the masterclass, I was actually talking about the algorithm theory that I have, so it was a bit different than me just owning him. I don't want to turn this into a partisan tit for tat. I think that Ben and I actually agreed on some solid stuff. We want to tone it down. I just think that, as you pointed out, when Ben tries to point at Democrats not condemning this, it's very easy to point at JD Vance. Like, this is a high position of power. This is the vice president. And when he's playing games and not strongly condemning this, it creates the permission structure for young men my age who are already confused and have a lack of moral clarity. A lot of young men.
Chris, let me say this about JD. I think what JD's. Yeah, I think JD. The reason why JD said what he said is because I think it's so maddening, and I'm one of those, to watch a guy that could become the attorney general of the state not get any pushback from the Democratic Party, while the same Democratic Party is going after a bunch of people that none of us knew existed in the young Republicans that have no influence in the sphere of the Republican leadership.
I get it.
Well, that's they're not the difference. I don't know any of these people's names. I've never heard of them. They're fringe people.
I get it. One is a state senator. I got to jump. Adam Mockler, we'll keep talking about it. Ben Ferguson, we've been talking about it for 15 years. All right? And you're right. They're not kids. They were real players.
You can really tell in this part that Adam Mockler isn't just trying to score points, he's trying to bring back some moral clarity to the discussion. What stands out is how Adam Mockler talks about the permission structure created when political leaders refuse to condemn hateful or extremist rhetoric. And honestly, that's such a powerful point, because when someone like JD Vance, a vice presidential candidate, dances around condemning this stuff, it doesn't just stay in politics, it trickles down to young men watching at home who already feel lost or angry, and it tells them, hey, this might be okay. That's how hate spreads, through silence from people in power. Adam Mockler's approach here is mature. He's not trying to own Ben Ferguson or Chris Cuomo. He's actually trying to elevate the debate. And even when Ben tries to pivot to Democrats or some fringe examples, Adam Mockler stays focused on the real issue: accountability from leadership. He's not pretending the left is perfect, but he's refusing to let whataboutism dilute the moral argument. And I love that Adam Mockler brings up his algorithm theory too. It's an honest acknowledgement of how social media rewards outrage over nuance. He's basically saying, I'm not here for clout, I'm here because this matters. That's rare. Chris Cuomo tries to wrap things up diplomatically, but by the end it's clear Adam Mockler is the only one on that panel talking about principles instead of party loyalty. And that's exactly why his words hit harder, because they're grounded in truth, not tribalism. Pause. Are you getting tired of getting half the story from biased news sources? One outlet says one thing and another says the complete opposite. How are you supposed to know what's actually true? That's where ground news comes in. It lets you compare how different media outlets, left, right, and center are covering the same story. So you can see the full picture instead of just the echo chamber. And here's the best part. Click the link in the description and get 40% off the Vantage tier, which gives you even deeper insights into media bias and political trends. Stay informed, think for yourself, and check out Ground News in the description down below.